There are moments in the life of a nation when an old monument ceases to be a memory and becomes a mandate. Akosombo is such a place. For more than 60 years, the dam has stood as one of the boldest statements Ghana has ever made about what a free African people could imagine and build. Yet, to Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, the Volta River project was far greater than a wall of concrete or a source of electricity. It was the foundation of an industrious nation. It meant powerful factories, transportation across the country, modern agriculture, thriving fisheries, new communities, and economic independence. This morning, we are here because President John Dramani Mahama has chosen to take that unfinished national ambition seriously. When Nkrumah drove the construction of Akosombo in the early years of our republic, Ghana was newly independent, our resources were stretched, and our industrial base was still young. But we had confidence. We had leaders prepared to make decisions whose benefits would outlive them. The dam was completed. The lights came on. Industries were powered. Lake Volta was created, opening possibilities across a vast part of our country. Successive generations have preserved and extended that legacy. Still, the fuller economic promise of the Volta Basin as a connected system of transport, agriculture, fisheries, industries, and trade has remained largely unfinished. No generation begins the work of nation building with a blank sheet. We inherit institutions, we inherit assets, we inherit sacrifices, and we inherit unfinished dreams. Wise leadership honors what comes before, learn from it, and carry it further. Nkrumah's generation built the dam. Other generations kept its turbines turning and widened access to electricity. President Mahama has now determined that the wider vision must be carried to its full economic conclusion. This is how a serious nation develops. One generation lays the foundation, another protects it, and another builds the next story. The baton must never be allowed to fall. President Mahama understands this deeply. He sees systems where others see isolated projects. He looks at Volta Lake and sees a national production and logistics backbone. He sees inland ports and reliable water transport linking the north to the south. He sees irrigated farm producing throughout the year, agroecological parks, industrial hubs, fisheries, tourism, renewable energy, storage, processing, and exports. Above all, he sees jobs and better incomes for Ghanaian families. That is the heart of the Volta Economic Corridor. Under the 24-hour economy and accelerated export development program, the corridor will connect production to processing, processing to transport, and transport to markets. It can lower the cost of moving goods across the country. It can help farmers produce at scale and reach buyers before their harvests are lost. It can enable factories to locate closer to their raw materials needed. It can draw investment into communities that have waited too long for such opportunities. It can connect our northern production loans to Tema, to the wider sub-region, and to the global market. The 24-hour economy is therefore much bigger than a timetable. It is a new way of organizing production. It asks a simple question: how do we make better use of Ghana's land, water, infrastructure, capital, and human talent every hour of the day? The Volta Economic Corridor is one of President Mahama's clearest answers to this question. Today may appear to be a meeting about concessions and negotiations. In truth, it is a meeting about whether we can turn VRA's non-power assets into new prosperity. There is no sword to be cast this morning. no ribbon to unveil. But nations are often changed by the painstaking decisions made in rooms like this. Decisions about law, finance, governance, risk, responsibility, and public value. Let me also be clear. A concession is not a disposal of public inheritance. Properly structured, it is a disciplined way to mobilize capital, expertise, and operational strength whilst protecting VRA's statutory mandate and the enduring interests of the Ghanaian people. The agreement you begin negotiating today must therefore be legally sound, commercially credible, transparent, and bankable. They must provide certainty to investors and assurance to the citizens. They must protect the VRA systems, respect the communities whose lives are bound to it, and ensure that local people become participants and beneficiaries rather than being spectators to development taking place around them. We should move with urgency, but urgency must never become carelessness. Speed and diligence can and must travel together. I commend my brother Guzi and the entire 24-hour Secretariat team for the imagination and persistence that have brought us to this point. I thank the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund for bringing its project development and financing strength to this national undertaking. I also commend the board, management, and staff of VRA. VRA has been the faithful custodian of Ghana's most important national asset. Its experience, institutional memory, and continuing involvement are indispensable to the success of this corridor. To the negotiating teams, your work carries a public trust. Be rigorous, be fair, listen to one another, resolve difficulties with the national interest in view. The quality of the framework you produce will determine whether this vision attracts capital, survives political cycles, and delivers value for generations to come. Having had the privilege of serving President Mahama closely in 2 administrations, I know the seriousness with which he approaches national development. He is patient enough to understand complex systems and impatient with excuses once the direction is clear. So please be mindful of that. No excuses. Once we set the goal, we got to move on. The generosity of his leadership is visible in this project. He honors Nkrumah's vision, draws lessons from the generation since, and mobilizes today's institution to complete important national work. His question is never who receives the credit. His question is, what does Ghana get? As Chief of Staff, I feel a deep personal privilege to lead the present team in giving practical effect to his ambition. My office sits at the point where presidential vision meets the machinery of the state. Our duty is to align institutions, clear bottlenecks, enforce timelines, and make sure that good decisions do not die in files or meeting minutes. I am proud to serve as a torchbearer of the research agenda, carrying the present vision from Jubilee House into ministries and agencies, into project sites, and ultimately into the daily lives of our people. I accept the responsibility with humility, but also with determination, because leadership is finally measured by what changes in the lives of the people. The jobs we create, the incomes raised, the businesses open, and the hope we restore. Ladies and gentlemen, 60 years ago, a generation stood beside the Volta and saw power where others saw only water. Today, under President John Dramani Mahama, we look at the same river and see the next great chapter of this country, Ghana's major economic transformation. Let it be said that of our generation, that we did not simply inherit Volta Lake and admire its size, we put it to work wisely, sustainably, and for the benefit of the Ghanaian people. Let it be said that we carried Nkrumah's vision forward, and we did it. And we'll be proud of ourselves for doing it. That we turned power into production, water into wealth, and geography into opportunities. The baton has reached us, all of us. Under President Muhammad's leadership, we will not let baton fall. To everyone who will take part in these negotiations, work with the urgency of this moment and the conscience demanded by public trust. Build an agreement worthy of the river, worthy of the sacrifices that created the lake, and worthy of the future Ghana we are determined to build for our children. I hereby declare the Volta Economic Corridor concession negotiations formally inaugurated. Let the work begin. Let the corridor rise. Let Ghana move forward. May God bless all of us. God bless our homeland.